Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. We'll continue. Counsel, call your next witness.
Your Honor, the defense calls Brian Gibson.
Brian Gibson? Just watch your step. Step up to the desk to be sworn in.
Mr. Gibson, please remain standing. Place your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Go ahead.
Do you swear in the presence of Almighty God that the testimony you give to this court regarding this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Brian Gibson, Gibson.
Thank you.
All right, have a seat, Mr. Gibson. Please keep your voice up. That microphone does not project your voice in the courtroom. So if you don't understand the question, just indicate that and I'll have counsel rephrase. Go ahead, counsel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gibson. Do you
Yes, sir.
live and work in New Jersey?
Yes, I do.
What profession do you engage?
Public insurance adjusting?
What is the field of public insurance adjusting?
Public adjusting is where the homeowner or business owner has an insurance policy for property that they own. They would hire me to represent them if they had a claim, where an insurance company has either a direct employee of the insurance company as an insurance adjuster, or they use independent insurance adjusters to negotiate claims on their behalf.
Is the field of insurance adjuster a nationwide pursuit?
And some states do not have public adjusters. They just don't exist.
But in New Jersey, they do.
They do, yes.
And do you have any particular education background that's relevant to it?
Well, in New Jersey, you have to have continuing education through an online courses.
Right?
Prior to being a public adjuster, I was an electronic engineer, and then I switched fields 11 years after that. So my schooling is more towards the electronic end and experience more towards public adjusting.
So how many years have you been engaged in the business of being a public insurance adjuster?
This is my 30th year.
30th year?
Yes,
And you operate your own company,
yes,
Gibson and Associates?
yes.
With respect to how your office operates, I'd like to try, if we can, to direct your attention to what your office operated like in January of 2019.
Okay.
At that time frame, so the first 6 months of that year,
Yep.
okay?
And
Go
to
ahead.
answer your question, my office is located in Totowa, New Jersey.
Uh-huh,
We have a small office, which we have a secretary who happens to be my wife,
uh-huh.
and my boss, if you want to look at it that way. I have a business partner, and my son would be also an adjuster with my firm. And I think in 2019, that was the extent of our firm.
Okay. Do you have a sophisticated phone switchboard system in the office?
We have approximately 3 lines coming into the office. 2 of the lines are mostly made for outgoing calls, not to tie up our office lines for new business coming in. We found probably about 10 years ago that it benefits our office if we have that line forwarded to my cell phone, so we didn't miss any incoming calls or wait for an answering service to get back to us. Because we found answering services kind of didn't give us the correct names or correct numbers or addresses. They weren't accurate. So all the phones at that time were forwarded to my cell phone.
May I ask, with respect to the practice of being an insurance adjuster, are sometimes you called upon on an emergent basis?
Yes, but our licenses only allow us to solicit or to obtain new business between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. for the first 24 hours of an incident. But if somebody called us and it was an emergency, as long as we get a call in, we're allowed to go out and take care of that situation.
And there is a license issued to you?
But we're licensed by the State Department of Banking and Insurance.
Is that something as to which you have to submit an application?
You have to submit an application, a form of insurance, continuing education, that your credits were up to date.
So is a person or an operation vetted before they're given that license?
Yes.
And you've been through that vetting process?
Yes.
And did you maintain that license in January of 2019?
Oh, yes,
Have you maintained it continuously throughout your operation of your
Yes.
business?
yes.
Let's go to January of 2019. Did you come into contact with Michael Barisone?
Yes.
And what was it that brought you into contact with him?
I believe I received a phone call from Mr. Barisone that he had a claim in a farmhouse he owned. It was a pipe freeze-up, so it was a pipe that burst due to the thawing of the broken pipe.
Was that pipe that burst in a farmhouse, did you say?
Yes,
And was that the farm where Michael also had his dressage facility?
yes. I understand that the dressage facility was further back than the farmhouse. I never actually ventured back that way,
Okay,
but the farmhouse is where my business took place.
okay. And so you get the call from Michael, you're advised of some incident. What was the next step you took with respect to this contact?
So either the same day or the following day, I would go down and meet Mr. Barisone and look at what is involved with his claim, see what caused the damages, and find out whose insurance company he was with, and make sure that he had coverage for the claim that he had.
Do you have a specific recollection as to whether Mr. Barisone was actually in the state of New Jersey when this claim arose, as opposed to being in the state of Florida?
I could tell you that I know the claim took place on January 28th, or at least it was reported on January 28th. And I was retained on, I believe, January 31st. So I can't tell you if he was there before we met. I don't know that.
Can I show you a document?
Sure.
I've marked for identification as 750, that's 50. What's long, what you think? Take a moment to review this to yourself, okay?
Okay,
Do you recognize the document?
yes.
What is it?
This is my firm's retainer agreement.
And does it indicate that you're being retained in connection with any specific event?
Pipe break.
Where?
411 West Mill Road in Long Valley, New Jersey.
And does this document set forth the terms of your agreement
Yes.
with respect to acting as an insurance adjuster?
Yes,
And do you get compensated?
yes.
And what does it say your compensation is in connection with this engagement?
7% of the settlement.
Okay. Does this reflect your signature?
Yes,
And do you see another signature?
yes.
Whose is that?
I know it's Mike Barisone, but I can't read it because it's a signature, but I
Okay.
know that to be because that's who retained me.
And does this confirm the date when it was signed?
January 31st,
Okay.
2019.
Okay. So, do you recall where it was that you met with Michael to have him sign this?
In his kitchen, the first floor kitchen,
At the property?
at the property.
So was there an active water leak at the time you were there?
No, the insurance company brought in a company called Code Blue Restoration.
Uh-huh.
And what they did is set up fans and dehumidifiers to try to dry up the structure. So it wasn't actively leaking at the time that I was there, but I was able to see the pipe that broke, where it was located, and the damage that it caused.
So the efforts of that company, would it be fair to call them a remediation company?
Yes.
And why is it important, if you know, to have a remediation company come in?
Well, the first part of your insurance policy tells you that you need to protect your property from further damage. So by protecting your property from further damage, you want to bring in a remediation company to dry up the structure, to prevent mold or any additional damage that may be caused if you don't address the wet material.
Do they sometimes cut into the walls when they're attempting
Yes.
to dry it out?
Yes,
Do they remove sheetrock?
yes,
Do they remove insulation?
yes.
And if they left that in place and didn't remediate, what sort of additional damage could happen to the property?
Well, the floors would buckle more than they have. You develop a mold situation in the walls. I do believe when I was at the property and Code Blue was there, we did some testing and additional sheetrock or drywall had to be removed because it was wet and it wasn't found at the time when Code Blue was first involved.
Do you recall, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall when you were there whether or not the ceilings have been stripped of their sheetrock and insulation?
Some were not. Some I instructed them to move further with the removal of the drywall.
And that was to protect the property?
Yes,
And does that also in some manner hopefully reduce the claim?
yes.
In connection with this claim, were you ever, did you ever meet with Lauren Canarak?
No,
Did you ever speak with Lauren Canarak?
no,
To your knowledge, did anyone else from your office ever meet or speak with Lauren Canarak?
no.
How many claims over the years? All right, I'll change the question. If you were to give a good faith estimate
Right.
as to the number of claims that you've been involved with
Right.
over the years, can you ballpark it? Would it be dozens,
Oh,
hundreds, thousands? What would it be?
Approximately 200, 250 claims a year. Sometimes if there's storms or floods that come through, that number jumps dramatically.
So during Superstorm Sandy, for example, what
Yeah.
happened to your office?
We had to stop taking claims. We did so much business that I had to instruct my firm to stop bringing in new business. It wasn't fair to the client or the potential client, and it would just drive us crazy. So we had to stop. We only took so many.
In your past experience, is a damage to a house from a burst pipe something that's unusual?
No.
How common is it in your experience?
In the winter months between January and March, very common. Oh, for a frozen pipe. For a pipe break, could be very common. Just for the pipe to break by itself or a pinhole or something rubbing against the pipe that causes, but in this case, it was a frozen pipe that when that pipe thawed, that's when the water caused all the damages.
Was there anything unusual about this claim based upon your experience of 30 years in the insurance adjusting business?
No, it was common for this type of claim.
Do you know whether in connection with investigating the claim and representing Michael or his business in connection with it, whether you did anything to verify whether there was propane in the tank on the property?
So my firm directly does not get involved with any investigation part of the claim, but the insurance company did request information that I then asked Mr. Barisone to provide to us. One was to make sure, and according to this type of claim, you have to make sure that heat is maintained in the house. So they requested information. It was a propane supplied the fuel to heat the home. So they asked for propane bills or documentation to show that there was propane in the tank at the time of the loss.
With respect to this claim and the communications with the insurance company, were the communications really through you representing Michael Barisone?
So the line of communication would be from the insurance company to me, to Mr. Barisone, to me, to the insurance company.
And the question about documentation of having propane in the tank, that was one of those conversations?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you what I've marked for identification as Defense Exhibit 700-51.
Yes.
Have you reviewed it?
Yes.
Do you recognize it?
Yes.
What is it?
This is from the propane company that supplies propane to the farmhouse?
Okay. Is it a delivery receipt?
Yes.
Does it indicate how many gallons of propane were
Counsel,
delivered?
can I see you at the bench, please?
Yes, Your Honor. questions for the witness at this time.
Would you like to spec, sir?
Oh, yes, certainly.
Mr. Shellhorn, any cross-examination?
No, thank you, Judge.
All right, you may step down, sir.
Thank you.
Just watch your step.
Call your next witness.
The defense calls Phillip Dutton.
Phillip Dutton. Just watch your step and step up to the table.
Mr. Dutton, please remain standing. Place your left hand on the Bible, please. Raise your right hand. Listen to the oath, please.
Do you swear in the presence of Almighty God that the testimony you give to this court regarding this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Phillip Dutton, D-U-T-T-O-N.
Thank you.
All right, you may have a seat. Mr. Dutton, please keep your voice up nice and loud.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, counsel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dutton.
Hi.
You live in Pennsylvania?
That's correct.
What city?
The postal address is West Grove.
How long have you lived there?
About 30 years.
What do you do for a living?
What's called a 3-day event rider or equestrian. So that's what I do full time. So I compete throughout the world and teach and train horses.
So you said a 3-day event rider. That's what, am I using the term correctly?
Correct, yes.
Could you give the jury a description as to what that means?
A 3-day event is like a triathlon for horses. So there's 3 sports involved in our sport, and you can only use the same horse for all 3 sports, and the score is tallied over the 3 sports. So the 3 sports are dressage, and then cross country and show jumping.
How long have you been engaged in the pursuit of that sport?
Well, I've ridden all my life. I mean, you start off in pony club and that kind of thing. But when I moved to this country from Australia, I took it up full time. So
How long ago was that?
that was in 1990, I believe.
You do it competitively.
Correct.
Have you ever gone to the Olympics?
I've been to 7 Olympics.
7?
Yes.
And what country were you representing in the 7 Olympics you attended?
I represented Australia in Atlanta, Sydney, and Athens, and then I changed my nationality to the US and represented US in China, and then London, and then Rio, and just recently in Tokyo.
Have you medaled?
Yes, I was fortunate to be team gold medalist for Australia twice and an individual medal for America in Rio de Janeiro.
What year was Rio? 2016?
2016, yes.
Do you know Michael Barisone?
Yes, I do.
How did you come into contact with him?
Michael is a great dressage rider and teacher, and so I sought him out to get help for one of the disciplines, which is dressage, leading out or around the London Olympics time, and for a year or 2 after that. So,
And if you could, for the jury's sake, when were the London Olympics?
that was 2012.
So is it fair to say that as of now you've known Michael for maybe 10 years?
That's correct.
And you worked with him as a trainer?
Well, he was my coach for dressage,
coach.
yes. So I was the student in that situation.
Okay, so when you say coach, he's coaching you as a rider as opposed to something else?
He's coaching me as a rider, but also the horse, and giving his professional wisdom on how to improve the horse and get them to go better and train better and muscle better and just overall improve the performance.
Are those things impactful on your performance in competition?
Absolutely, yes, and that's why you know, competition's tough, so you're just trying to get a little bit better all the time, so you seek out help and advice all the time.
Did Michael do that for you?
Yeah, Michael's a great coach. So.
So you know him as a coach.
Mhm.
Did he fit any other categories in your life, such as friend, mentor, anything else?
Yeah, I'd call him a friend, and you know, we didn't hang out that much. Certainly on trips like going overseas, you usually only got one horse, and that doesn't take long. So you hang out there and talk and get to know one another. So I got to know him pretty well, even when he wasn't coaching. You know, I'd still see him and around some of the competitions. Even when he wasn't coaching me, I could still see him at some of the competitions and talk and that kind of stuff.
Have you ever seen him ride a horse?
Yes.
With any frequency, have you seen him do that?
Yeah, I'd say I saw him ride. He's ridden some of mine to get a feel for what they were like. So.
In your experience, have you ever seen Michael do anything inappropriate with a horse?
No, never. You know, at this level, the horses, are, unless they're treated well, they're not going to go well. So, you know, it's in no one's interest to be mean or bad to a horse or do anything wrong to them.
So have you ever seen him mistreat a horse?
Never.
Have you ever seen him become violent toward another person?
No, I have not.
Have you, through your interactions with him, developed a belief as to his truthfulness?
All of my interactions, Michael was extremely honest and somebody that I could trust, yes.
Did you find him to be honorable or dishonorable in business?
I think he's very honourable. I mean, I didn't have much of a business dealing. It was just more I paid him for my lessons and that kind of thing. But he was very honest and straightforward and trustworthy.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
All right, cross-examination?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Dutton, good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm sorry to ask you this question, but did you have a fire on one of your farms in May of 2011?
Yes,
And a number of horses perished in that fire,
that's correct.
6 to be exact.
Mhm.
So is it fair to say that a barn fire can be very dangerous for the horses?
Absolutely.
And you weren't at Mr. Barisone's farm on August 7th, 2019?
No.
Thank you, sir. No further questions, Judge.
No redirect, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you, sir. You may step down. Thank you.
Just watch your step.
Your Honor, the defense calls Mike McGrain.
Mike McGrain. Just watch your step and then step up to the next podium.
Hi, please remain standing. Left hand on the Bible, please raise your right hand. Listen to the oath, please.
Do you swear in the presence of Almighty God that the testimony you give to this court regarding this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Michael McGrain, McGrain.
Thank you.
All right, have a seat, Mr. McGrain. Please keep your voice up in response to questions.
Okay.
If you don't understand something that's being asked, please indicate that. I'll have counsel rephrase. Go ahead, counsel.
Mr. McGrain, where do you reside?
I live in Westminster, Maryland.
Do you have any involvement in the horse industry?
Yes, I train and work and teach.
Do you have a particular area of training that you engage in for horses?
Dressage, mainly.
Dressage, okay. Do you know Michael Barisone?
Yes.
How did you come to know him?
I met him a few years back and went and ended up working for him as a young horse rider.
Do you recall what year it was that you met him?
I think 2018.
We're just asking for your best recollection,
Yeah.
okay? Did you work at Mr. Barisone's farm in Florida?
Yes.
Did you work at Mr. Barisone's farm in Long Valley, New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay. Were you working for Mr. Barisone in 2019?
Yes.
Were you present on his farm commencing in June of 2019?
Yes.
And that's the Long Valley Farm?
Yeah.
Did you have living accommodations there?
I did. I lived in like an RV trailer.
Comfortable arrangement?
Yeah, I liked it.
Were there any particular geographic formations in the area where your trailer was?
You mean like the landscape or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, I mean, I was kind of a little elevated above the barn, up like a little slurp, a couple trees around me, some big rocks,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay. So, your job working for Michael was to train horses?
Yeah, I did the young horses, you know,
Okay.
and rode mostly young horses.
No. And did you have any other work that you performed for him while you were working for him?
Yeah, if I wasn't riding horses, I'd do some construction work for a little side money or something like that.
What experience do you have in construction?
I worked with my dad for about 8 or 10 years doing home remodeling and kind of high-end work and stuff like that.
Did any of the work that you were involved with involve tiling?
Yes.
What level of experience do you have in tiling?
After I spent a few years with my dad, I ended up kind of being like the main tile guy. I did all the laying and stuff and, you know, all the laying stuff out and everything like that.
So how many years do you have of experience working with tile?
8 or 10.
8 or 10.
Yeah.
And let me ask, it might sound like a naive question, but is that something that takes some skill to do properly?
Yeah, I've seen some pretty bad jobs from people.
Okay? And so, as a person with 7 or 8 years of experience, did you have enough experience to do a good job as opposed to a problematic one?
I think so, yeah.
During 2019, do you recall what month it was that you arrived at the farm in Long Valley?
In 2019?
Yes,
Do you mean when I started working there or when I got back from Florida?
when you got back from Florida would be the way I would put it.
March or April, maybe? I think April, probably.
Okay. And were you involved in any of the work being done to the farmhouse in 2019?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you involved at all in the tile work in the basement of that farmhouse?
Yeah, I laid the tile in there.
You did.
Yes.
Did you work with anyone in laying that tile?
I worked with Rob
Rob who?
Goodwin.
Okay. And did, to your knowledge, which of you, Mr. Goodwin or you, had greater experience in tile work?
I think in tile work I did.
Did, which of you took the lead role on that job?
I pretty much did, yeah.
And is there a percentage that you'd split it up as to how much percentage you were responsible for as opposed to Mr. Goodwin?
I was responsible for probably 70–80% of it.
When you were involved with working with Mr. Goodwin, did he show up on time for work?
Rarely.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point.
It's a little far afield, counsel.
Did the atmosphere at the farm change in July of 2019?
Yeah.
Did you observe changes in the atmosphere, experience them yourself?
Yeah.
what did you observe and experience that were changes in the atmosphere at the farm at that time?
Things got real tense. It was not as much fun working there anymore. Seems like everybody was walking on eggshells, just, really nervous, stuff like that.
Were you walking on eggshells?
I started locking my doors. Yeah, I was nervous.
Was that an unusual thing for you to do?
Yeah.
From your perspective, was there a cause for that change?
Yeah.
What was it?
Objection,
What's the basis for the objection?
relevance, judge, speculation, calls for a lay opinion.
Let's see at the bench. Objection sustained.
You mentioned a rock near the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you have any particular use for a rock near the trailer in your personal life at the farm?
I don't know why I was there, but I like to sit out there and smoke a cigarette.
Did there come a time in late July, early August, when you were sitting out there one evening with Justin Harden?
Yeah.
Did anything unusual happen while you and Justin were sitting out on the rock?
Yes.
What happened?
You could see like a figure kind of going around in front of windows and stuff, kind of sneaking around dressed all in black. And then at one point I heard some rustling in the brush behind me. And I was kind of like, what's that, and said something to Justin, and all of a sudden, Lauren Canterac comes out of the brush, and no shoes on, dressed all in black with like a black veil kind of thing, I guess to cover her face or something.
Was it light or dark out when this was happening?
It was dark.
That same evening, do you know whether Michael was out trying to walk the yard, so to speak?
He was on the front porch of the barn, I think.
What was Lauren wearing specifically?
It's, I guess it was just all black, I'm not sure. It might have been like a little dress or spandex on and stuff, no shoes. I couldn't tell you exactly what she was wearing.
Based on the circumstances you observed that night, did that clothing impact the visibility of Lauren Canterac?
Yeah.
What did it do to the visibility of Lauren Canterac?
Well, it was all black. The only time that you could see her is either when she was standing right in front of me or when she was sneaking by a window that had light shining through, and you see a little shadow figure go shooting by the light.
When you talk about windows with light shining through, what building were those windows in?
The garage.
Was she wearing shoes?
No.
Did you have a chance to observe Michael in the days, well, let me ask this first. Were you on the farm when the incident occurred on August 7th, 2019?
Yes.
Okay. In the days preceding that, did you interact at all with Michael?
Every single day.
Okay. And did you notice any changes in Michael in those days preceding the incident?
Yeah, I mean, usually he's pretty fun to be around, telling jokes. He's always involved with riding the horses or coaching us and stuff. We weren't getting any he wasn't coaching us as much anymore. He wasn't riding the horses that he was supposed to. Just seemed like depressed and out of it and stuff.
Did there come a time when Michael did anything unusual toward you that you felt was out of character?
He broke down to me a couple times. At one point, he gave me a hug, which I thought was weird, because we never actually really hugged each other.
So was that the first and only time he's hugged you?
Yeah.
Were you ever, to your knowledge, mentioned in social media posted by Lauren Cataract?
Yeah.
Did you see postings that you interpreted to be about you?
Counsel.
I have no further questions of the witness at this time.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. McGrain, you were at the farm on August 7th, 2019.
Yes.
You didn't see what happened or what transpired by the farmhouse. You were interviewed that night at approximately 7:12.
I was interviewed that night. I'm not sure what time.
And was that that was when you were still at the property?
Yeah.
There were two detectives there?
Yeah.
And they asked you a series of questions about what you knew about what had been going on at the property recently.
Uh-huh.
They asked you questions about Michael Barisone.
Yeah.
They asked you questions about Lauren Canarack.
Yeah, I believe so.
And you didn't say anything to them the day of the shooting about this story about Lauren Canarack jumping out of the bushes wearing all black, did you?
I'm not sure if I did or not. Yeah, I don't know.
Judge, I wasn't provided a transcript for this witness to show him, so I can either ask for the jury to be excused and play the video for him.
Let me see you at the bench.
Mr. McGrain, were you shown a copy of that statement before you came into courtroom today?
No.
Mr. Bowinkis or Mr. Deininger never showed you a copy of what you said to refresh your memory before you testified?
No.
And again, Judge, for the record, it's a video that the prosecutor.
All right, I get it. He wasn't shown a video. He is your witness.
And you don't recall whether or not you ever said that during your interview the day that Lauren Tannerette got shot?
It was 2.5 years ago. I can't recall what I was asked or said.
Do you remember when the police officers asked you questions about 911 calls in the week or so leading up to the shooting?
Not specifically. I don't remember.
Do you remember that there were 911 calls in
Yes.
the week leading to the shooting?
Yeah.
And were you at the property when some of those calls were made?
Yes.
Were you at the property when some of the occasions when the police came?
Yes.
And did you think that it was overreacting to call the police?
I didn't know the severity of the situation at the time, so I wasn't sure.
But on August 7th, when you met with the police after the shooting and gave them a statement, you told them that it was probably a little overreacting by calling the police.
I may have said that. I'm not sure how I said it.
Do you also recall telling the police that nobody knew where the disagreement had come from?
Yeah, I don't even know how the whole thing got started in the first place.
No further questions, Judge.
All right. Any follow-up, redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down, sir. Thank you.
Just watch your step.
So Deininger, any other witnesses this afternoon?
Your Honor, we've run out of witnesses for today.
All right. I understand you have some witnesses tomorrow morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, members of the jury, good news and bad news. The defense has no more witnesses for this afternoon. They do have witnesses tomorrow. Good news is you get to go home early today. So we'll pick it up tomorrow morning, same time. Please don't discuss the case with anyone. And do you know how many witnesses you have for tomorrow?
We have 2 lay witnesses, correct then?
I believe from 2 lay witnesses and 2 experts. I hope we will get on tomorrow, Judge, and then we're done.
All right, and so we'll have a full day tomorrow with 2 lay witnesses and 2 experts. So we'll hear that testimony hopefully tomorrow, and then if the state has any rebuttal. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I said this at the beginning, you probably forgot, but on Thursday morning, we're not going to sit Thursday morning. One of the attorneys has a prior engagement. The attorney tried to get it changed, but was unable to do so. And it's a prior legal engagement with a higher court, so I don't have any authority to make them change it. So I have to abide by what the higher court schedules. They take priority over this trial, unfortunately. So the attorney's going to be tied up. So 1:30, we expect to be able to start. So just keep that in mind. We'll start tomorrow all day, hopefully get all those witnesses done. If the state has any rebuttal testimony, we'll start that on Thursday afternoon. All right? Please don't discuss the case. You're free to go. Enjoy your afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you. Mr. Shellhorn, with regard to that last witness,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you want